On February 6, 2025, the world watched in disbelief as President Trump signed a chilling executive order. This was not about trade wars or tariffs. This was about something far more significant: international justice. Trump had authorized sanctions against the International Criminal Court, the ICC. The ICC is a court of last resort, a beacon of hope for victims of the gravest crimes. Yet, Trump accused the court of malign conduct. His reasoning? The ICC dared to investigate allegations of war crimes, including those potentially involving U.S. citizens and allies like Israel. This was not just an attack on an institution, it was an attack on the very idea of accountability. It sent shockwaves through the international community. Many feared it would usher in an era of impunity for the world's most powerful. Were we really going back to a world where might made right? This executive order was a stark reminder of the fragility of international institutions. It demonstrated how quickly progress could be undermined by those who felt above the law. The world held its breath, waiting to see what the consequences of this reckless act would be. The sanctions themselves were broad and far-reaching. They targeted ICC officials, their families, and anyone providing them with support. These were not just words on paper. These sanctions had teeth. They threatened to cripple the court's ability to function, to investigate, and to deliver justice. The Netherlands, home to the ICC, became the epicenter of this international crisis. The Hague, a city known for its role in international law and peace, found itself at odds with a superpower. The Dutch government, caught in the crossfire, faced an impossible choice: stand up for international justice or appease an unpredictable ally. The ICC, situated in a quiet corner of The Hague, suddenly became a symbol of resistance. This was not just about legal technicalities or diplomatic maneuvering. This was about fundamental principles: accountability, justice, and the rule of law. The eyes of the world turned to The Hague, watching to see if this small nation would bow to pressure or stand firm in the face of intimidation. The stakes were high and the outcome uncertain. The weight of history rested heavily on the shoulders of the Dutch government. Would they uphold their nation's long tradition of supporting international law, or would they succumb to the pressure of a powerful ally? The international community reacted with a mix of condemnation and concern. Governments, human rights organizations, and legal experts voiced their alarm. This was not just an internal American matter. This was an assault on a system of global justice that had been painstakingly built over decades. The United Nations, often criticized for its slow pace and bureaucratic hurdles, found its voice. This was a rare moment of unity. Even countries with strained relationships with the U.S. found common ground in their opposition to Trump's actions. The European Union, often divided on foreign policy issues, stood united in its condemnation. This was not about taking sides in a geopolitical dispute. This was about defending the very foundations of international law. From Latin America to Africa, from Asia to Australia, a chorus of disapproval echoed across the globe. The message was clear: Trump's attempt to bully the ICC would not be tolerated. The ICC, established in 2002, represents a significant achievement in international law. It's the first permanent, treaty-based court with a mandate to prosecute individuals for genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. Before the ICC, these crimes often went unpunished. Powerful individuals, shielded by their governments, acted with impunity. The ICC was designed to change that. It was created to hold the most powerful accountable, to ensure that no one, regardless of their position, was above the law. It was a beacon of hope for victims of atrocities, a promise that justice would be served. Trump's sanctions threatened to extinguish this beacon. They sent a chilling message to victims of human rights abuses around the world: justice is not for you. They emboldened dictators and war criminals, whispering that their crimes might go unpunished. The ICC, already facing criticism for its limited resources and the slow pace of justice, found itself in an existential crisis. Could it survive this assault from a global superpower? The answer was far from certain. Section 5. The Dutch stand strong. The Netherlands, despite facing immense pressure, chose to stand by the ICC. Dutch Foreign Minister Casper Veldkamp, speaking for his nation, declared that the ICC's work was essential in the fight against impunity. He reaffirmed the Netherlands' unwavering commitment to international law, rejecting Trump's attempts to undermine it. Veldkamp's statement was a breath of fresh air in a world increasingly dominated by power politics. It sent a powerful message. Even small nations could stand up to bullies, especially when principles were at stake. The Dutch government, despite its close ties to the US, refused to be complicit in this assault on international justice. This was not just about diplomacy, this was about courage. The Netherlands, by standing up to Trump, became a beacon of hope for defenders of human rights and advocates for a rules-based international order. Their actions demonstrated that even in the face of immense pressure, principles mattered. They reminded the world that true leadership was not about wielding power, but about standing up for what was right. Section 6. Amnesty International condemns Trump's actions. Amnesty International, a global human rights organization, was quick to condemn Trump's executive order. Agnes Callamard, the organization's Secretary General, called the sanctions reckless, vindictive, and aggressive. She argued that they undermined the court's pursuit of justice and set a dangerous precedent for other countries seeking to evade accountability. Callamard's words resonated deeply with human rights advocates around the world. She reminded everyone that the ICC was not just an abstract legal entity, it was a vital tool for holding perpetrators of the worst crimes accountable and deterring future atrocities. These sanctions are a blatant attempt to silence victims and shield perpetrators of war crimes, Callamard declared. They represent a dangerous escalation in the Trump administration's assault on international law and human rights. Her statement highlighted the wider implications of Trump's actions. This was not just about the ICC, it was about the erosion of international norms and the growing threat to the rules-based order that had maintained a fragile peace for decades. Section 7. The long shadow of impunity. Trump's sanctions cast a long shadow over the future of international justice. They sent a clear message. The United States, once a champion of human rights, was no longer interested in upholding international law when it conflicted with its own interests. This was not just a theoretical debate, it had real-world consequences. Every time a war criminal walked free, every time a dictator escaped justice, it emboldened others to commit atrocities. It chipped away at the foundations of a just and peaceful world. The ICC was far from perfect. It faced challenges related to its jurisdiction, its funding, and its ability to enforce its decisions, but it remained a vital tool for holding the powerful accountable. Trump's actions threatened to unravel decades of progress. They signaled a return to a world where might made right, where the powerful acted with impunity, and where victims of atrocities had nowhere to turn for justice. Section 8. A call for global solidarity. In the face of this unprecedented attack on international justice, a global movement of solidarity emerged. Human rights activists, legal experts, and ordinary citizens from around the world rallied to the defense of the ICC. Social media platforms buzzed with messages of support. Hashtags like #StandWithTheICC and #NoImpunity trended globally. People from all walks of life, united by their belief in justice, raised their voices in unison. This was not just about governments and international organizations, this was about people power. It was a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, ordinary people could make a difference. The fight for justice was far from over, but the outpouring of support for the ICC demonstrated that the flame of hope, though flickering, had not been extinguished. Section 9. The fight for justice continues. The struggle over the ICC is a microcosm of a larger battle playing out on the global stage. It's a battle between those who believe in a rules-based international order and those who seek to undermine it. It's a battle between those who believe in accountability for human rights abuses and those who believe that might makes right. The stakes are high. The outcome of this battle will determine the kind of world we live in. Will it be a world where the powerful are held accountable for their crimes? Or will it be a world where impunity reigns and justice is a distant dream? The fight for justice is never easy. It requires courage, persistence, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of a better world. But it's a fight worth fighting, because the alternative, a world where the powerful act with impunity, is too terrible to contemplate. The ICC may be wounded, but it's not defeated. The global movement for justice, though shaken, is not broken. The fight continues.